Venice, a city that decided roads were overrated and went all in on water. This is the floating city, a place where gondolas replace taxis, canals are the streets, and getting lost is practically a rite of passage. Today, we're diving, figuratively, of course, into the iconic canals of Venice. Ready to make waves? Let's go. Let's start with the Grand Canal, Venice's main artery and the liquid equivalent of Times Square. Busy, chaotic, but undeniably breathtaking. This 4-kilometer stretch of water snakes through the city in a perfect S shape, lined with palazzos that look like they've leapt straight out of a Renaissance painting. And yes, that's history gliding past you, so take a moment to marvel before the water taxi splashes you. 100 licensed gondoliers in Venice, and they all undergo rigorous training, not in singing, unfortunately, but in navigating these tricky waters. And yes, tipping your gondolier for a good performance is always a nice touch. Not ready to splurge? Hop on a Vaporetto, Venice's public water bus. It's the affordable way to cruise the canals while pretending you're a local. Lines can be chaotic, and seating is a gamble, but the views from the water make up for any elbows to the ribs. Just don't mistake it for a gondola, your Instagram followers will notice. Let's talk bridges, because where there are canals, there are bridges. The Rialto Bridge is the most famous of them all, and for good reason. Built in the late 16th century, it's not just a crossing, it's an experience. From here, you can watch the Grand Canal in all its chaotic beauty. Gondolas, vaporetti, and the occasional paddleboarder who clearly didn't read the room. But Venice isn't all hustle and gondola gridlock. Slip into one of the city's quieter canals, and you'll feel like you've stepped into a dream. These narrow waterways are lined with colorful facades, hanging laundry, and the kind of silence that feels like a secret. Just don't forget to wave politely at passing gondolas, Venetian etiquette, after all. Ever wonder where all these gondolas come from? Head to Squero di San Trovaso, a centuries-old gondola workshop where craftsmen still build and repair these iconic boats by hand. Each gondola is made from 8 types of wood and takes months to complete. It's less a boat and more a work of art, one that also happens to double as your floating chariot. Now, let's address the elephant, or rather, the gondola, in the room: the canal traffic jams. Yes, they're a thing. With 150 canals weaving through the city and over 400 gondolas in operation, it's no surprise that the occasional traffic jam happens. But hey, at least it's scenic gridlock. As the day winds down, there's nothing quite like watching the sun set over the canals. The water glows golden, the gondoliers slow their pace, and Venice feels like it's exhaling after a long day of being, well, perfect. It's the kind of moment that reminds you why this city has captured imaginations for centuries. Venice's canals aren't just streets, they're stories, carrying centuries of history, art, and romance. Whether you're cruising down the Grand Canal or wandering along a quiet waterway, the magic of Venice is always just a ripple away. So grab a gondola, a vaporetto, or just a comfy pair of shoes, and let this floating city sweep you off your feet. Discover the magic of Venice's canals. Plan your journey today.